Come on in the building. If you just got here, remember we are waiting for people to turn them camera on so we can have good class. You know what I mean? We need to see people's face and all them something. So let's do it. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. All right, guys, can you see this? See my screen now? Can you see this document?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's a worksheet I've prepared for y'all. That's the worksheet you should have. The first activity that's on there for me, I want to quickly go ahead and answer that. Don't know I'm about to open a restaurant and I want to check if I can employ any of you to cook. Let's see if any of you learn anything from your mama. So you're going to list a list of ingredients that you will need in order to prepare curry chicken. That's here. All ingredients that you'll need right there. And then I want you to make me a little recipe, a list of steps that I will need to go through to prepare the chicken. All right. You guys have like about 4 minutes to do that. I would love for you to start just now. And once you have done yours, you have created a recipe. Just copy and paste it from your worksheet into the chat for me so I can take a look at person's recipe. Let me see if you can cook. It's a good time to see if Katrina can cook or she just sit on her house and eat. Yeah, we need to know if those people from Westwood, yeah, people who name start with J and D.
What are you talking about, sir?
Yeah, just want to know if you guys can cook. That's all. That's all. Nothing much. Just
Too
want to know if
early
you.
for you, sir, to be picking on people.
Exactly, it's too early for that.
What do you mean too early? It's after 12.
Sultan, shut up.
Yeah, it's
It's
now
after
18 minutes.
12. What do you mean?
It's now 18 minutes after 5 for me.
Right now, for sir, it's late.
Yeah, if not know when. Yeah.
Exactly.
When
But
class is finishing.
better late than never.
Yeah. We're
No,
gonna see all the
exactly,
people
he's
who
targeting the
just eat.
females.
Exactly.
We are going to see all the people who just eat. Just eat or not eat. Nothing else.
Oh,
Mm. Yeah, you just line up early for the food. Every time your mother prepare food, you just line up for the food. That's all. Mm. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, all right. Oh, targeting the females. What a strong statement. Me. No. Actually, no. Before I went overseas, I've only taught at a girls' school. So my outfit take good care of the girls. It's all I've done. I've only taught at a girls' school, never taught at a co-ed school in Jamaica. Only when I was on teaching practice at Knox. Other than that, yeah. I'm telling the truth, my observation of having taught, um, uh, just in about 3 different countries, the girls always outperform the boys for the first couple of years until them drop the subject and don't do it anymore. So let's see if that's going to be the case in this place. No, 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 no. All right. Guys, I only 1 minute and a half left to cook this meat, and that takes so long. A little curry chicken, Jesus. Please start to copy on the recipe and everything. I'm going to stop Google and stop asking the peers how to cook curry chicken. But ask Uno. No, 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 no. No matter what, storm cloud, hugger rock. All right. How's everybody? How's everybody? How's everybody? Are we done preparing? All right, start copy and paste now. Please copy and paste your answer into the chat so I can read them. Remember, our computers are at the moment standalone computers, so I'm not able to directly check your thing to see. Colin, what's happening? Jade, what's happening? Katrina, Deandra, Adam, what the little chicken I'm asking for prepare there? Jesus, gosh, imagine. Imagine if they did ask him if he do something more than that. Why? Oh no, me can't see nothing. Guys, night to come. 24 minutes gone. Why wanna get none yet?
Sir, the chat isn't allowing me to paste, so I'm
What are you
retyping.
talking about? How come?
Yes, sir. I don't know, sir.
It's outrageous. Something wrong with yours. Okay, so those are the things you need. Adam, coconut milk, garlic, paprika. Well, sir, what is the steps for me to prepare this? Thank you for the ingredients. But I need the steps as well as to how to prepare this. What do I do first? What will I do second? What will I do third? And what will I do fourth? All the way to the end. All right. Follow Adam, you know. Adam say, this is my use. Let's throw that in there. Yeah, man, Adam think that, man. Yeah, man. No, sir. No. I can't believe the girl them can't cook. No, sir. I cannot believe
Excuse
this.
me, sir.
This is scandalous.
Excuse me, sir.
This is
Sir, we
scandalous.
know how to cook. The chat isn't allowing us to paste, so we
What
are retyping.
outcomes? So everybody else, oh, you're retyping. Oh,
Yes,
everybody
sir.
else. And I understand. So me just pasting in the chat there. I don't even know what you're talking about. I cannot believe this. It's outrageous. Outrageous. You would think, uh, you would think the ladies would be excited to show off their cooking skills. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. Scandalous. Scandalous. Right, looking at chat now, see if we save the day. First, cut one onion, two, two cloves of onion, and two chicken breasts. I mean, two cloves of garlic. Come true, Adam. Least the men are represented, you know. Jeez. All right. Hey, Colton, that look like you just copy from, from Adam. You would never have no
Just Colton
coconut
can't
milk
cook.
in your curry chicken. You just copy that one right there.
No,
Hey,
sir,
Adam, your ideas
sir.
got stolen.
Wait, but sir, isn't it the same way? So what am I supposed to say, sir?
It's not the same way because me never cook with no coconut milk yet.
So,
I've
sir, but
never prepared curry.
if I
with-
do it with coconut milk, sir,
No, that's just copying. You just stole that idea in the same order. I could look up here and make sure. Look at that. The very same order almost. You just took Adam's idea. I've
no,
never
sir.
I've never prepared curry chicken before with any coconut milk in it. I don't remember putting no garlic powder in it
Sir, I do, sir. I do.
or onion powder.
I do, sir. I do.
You do.
I do.
So, all right. Seems like we only have two participants today. Everybody else now admits that them can't cook. So let's move
Sir,
on.
they're still tired, sir.
They're still tired. All right. So the activity here that we did, yeah, is just a way of introducing to you problem solving. If I were to ask you what problem we're trying to solve here, it's simple to prepare curry chicken. So when we talk about problem solving in the context of computer science or information technology, we're not talking about trouble or chaos, right? We are simply referring to coming up with a logical set of instructions that we will use to solve problems. This is not new. This is something we do every day. Everything that we put together, we have a technique as to how we do it. What you're going to realize, and I hope that persons will have seen from the many persons who would have come up with their ideas, you are going to realize that to arrive at the same output of producing curry chicken, that some of us might use one or two ingredients that other persons do not use, and our steps might be slightly different. There might be a step 2 that you have that I don't have, or there might be more steps that I go through. What matters is not the actual steps. What matters is you can take some input and produce the desired output. And so that is what problem solving is about, essentially. So I wanted us to just come here now. You don't have this question. So can I ask you to add this question to your space? Because we are going to, from the activity, come up with a definition for a problem. And I am going to read for you and tell you what I think is a problem, and you can tell me. So from the activity up here, we can say that a problem is a situation. Problem is a situation where there is a goal to be achieved. All right. This is what a problem is. All right. I want to also add on here that while it is a problem, sorry, it's a goal that one is trying to achieve, we can admit that the method to reach the goal is not immediately obvious. You have to actually sit down and think and figure out how to solve the problem. And if you're like Deandra and Jade, I'll know you can't come up with a solution yet, right? That's normal when it comes on to problem solving. Cool? All right. So just add that, but method to reach that goal is not immediately obvious. So if you can see the solution already, then that is not a problem. All right. So no point me asking what is Colton's name. I can see that on the screen. That's not problem solving. That's that's solution recognition. You can see already. A problem has to be a goal that you're trying to ascertain that is not immediately obvious. So you have to now begin to think, what are going to be the logical steps that I need to go through in order to solve the problem? You should add another question to your starter activity. Now, if we know that this is a problem, then what do we think problem solving is? So from this, we can all infer that problem solving is the process of analyzing. That is why Jade is still analyzing, all know, a problem and designing a solution. All know Deandra can come up with a solution to the curry chicken to overcome
Sir.
it.
Sir, can you leave me alone for now? Like,
Exactly,
we
sir.
almost finished.
Is not everybody can cross it.
You're crossing the line now, sir. You're hurting my feelings.
Only who understand it can cross it. Not my words, Cliff Twang. I then want to add a second definition for problem solving. All right. So as it relates to IT specifically, it is breaking a problem. Let's put that down. Breaking a problem down and creating a step-by-step solution. And this step-by-step solution is actually called an algorithm. So when we talk about algorithm, we're talking about a step-by-step solution, right, to a problem. All right, cool. So still keep that right there. Now, I also want to introduce another word right here. I'm going to put it in bracket right there. Breaking down a problem. Breaking a problem down. I'm going to put in bracket here decomposition. For your exam requires you to know what these words mean. So when you have to break down a problem bit by bit, right? Decide how am I going to solve the problem. This is called decomposition. So if I ask Colton, can you turn the computer on for me and set up the class? Colton will have to begin to think, no, first I need to analyze what is being asked of me, what is the output, what does success look like, and then he needs to formulate in his brain, whether he's going to write it down or mentally keep a capture of it, he needs to decide what is going to be the most logical steps for me to arrive at the solution, for me to attain success. So this is something that we all have been doing over our life. Now, I want you in your own words. I'm only giving you 30 seconds here, and this time I'm going to ask persons to vocalize their answer. So please make sure that you can cross it. All right. Based on what I have just shared about an algorithm, all right, and we have specified that it is like a recipe. In your own words, I would love for you to define algorithm for me, please. And that's down into activity 1. Na 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 na. $30 more seconds. Nice. Okay. Miss Watson, could you be kind enough to share with me in your words what an algorithm is?
Sir, I don't have a proper definition for this one.
I would love to hear what you have. I'll tell you if it's proper or not. All right. Any attempt? Katrina, what about you?
Sir, you hearing me?
Okay, yep, go ahead.
Sir, I think an algorithm is a set of instructions used to solve a problem.
I love that.
Complete
What
a
you gonna say
task.
again? Go on. Go ahead. What were you going to add to it?
Or complete a task.
Or complete a task. Fair enough. So we're going to put that together. Open a Google that in and adjust your brain. But I like it. All right. All right. So yeah, so let's put that together. All right, nice item as well. From Adam. Definitely nice from Katrina as well. All right, cool. So me just I got add a few words to it. So I'll copy Katrina's work and then I'll put in 1 or 2 words inside of it, right? Yeah. So not only is it a set of, but it needs to be a set of clear instructions. So your algorithm cannot be unambiguous, so to speak. It needs to be clear. It needs to be precise. It needs to say exactly what you intend for it to say. There's something else I need to point out in it, right? We also need to add the word ordered, O-R-D-E-R-D. Notice that you cannot, let's go back to to the first task. I think I got some ideas from our good friend Adam. So let's go and copy is algorithm for producing curry chicken, since the rest of us have not yet decided to tell us how to cook our curry chicken and think I have forgotten. So we're gonna copy Adam here and put in Adam. So we're number one, the Adam. Oh, cut onion. And say cut onion right there. So. And so we cut onion. Okay. I'll put it right up here. So step one. The idea is from what we see with what this is Adam's response, by the way. I am not verifying that that is how you cook curry chicken. I'm just saying this is what Adam has. All right. So basically, you have to follow this in a set order for it to work. All right. Which means that you can't wait until you put the curry in the pot and then curry up the chicken. Then you decide to wash the chicken and make sure the chicken is clean. Right? You have to do them in a certain order. Very important that that is done. All right? Cool. Well, Adam said at least it complete. Well, I can't argue with the true attack. I'll know we still can't hear how to curry chicken for some people. All right, good. So it's an algorithm that set of clear ordered instructions that are used to complete a task. Yep, agree with that. And I'm going to add a little bit more on there or solve a problem. So do make sure that you're filling in your worksheet with the key principles as we are going through. All right. Now, something I want to point out now is that an algorithm can be expressed as a pseudocode, a flowchart, simple narrative program code. All right. So what we want to look at is what is a pseudocode. And you just have to look on it and see the word code, which means that it's going to use some precise commands, but because it is pseudo, it is not something that will be is not something that is going to be executed by a computer, so to speak. But it is logical, it is in a certain format, it uses certain keywords, right? And that is what we want to do. So I'm going to provide you a definition here for program for pseudocode. So a pseudocode, you guys can write, type, or whatever. A pseudocode is a written should I say written? I think so. Structured. So we know it is structured. From the moment you see the word code, you know it is structured. We also know that it is the use of English-like statements or commands. I'm going to say English-like. Maybe I should make the E capital. No, don't want to diss the Queen's language. English-like representation of an algorithm that resembles a programming code. But, very important here, you need this, but is not tied to a specific language. Okay, put that here, nice. Resembles, why I can't even spell, 2 S and a 1. Okay, cool. No, so just to put that together, it is a written, structured English-like representation of an algorithm that resembles a programming code, but is not tied to a specific language. So what we have learned in the first sessions, yeah, when we were writing Python code, you would have to write that in a specific way. It would have to use Python specific language, but in this particular case, not so. So let's look at some of the keywords that you're going to use. So we're going to add those to this table. Keywords that you'll use in writing pseudocode. We will use the word start / begin. Some people use begin, and it just means to indicate the start of the solution. Okay. We also use the keyword declare.
So that's not how you spell solution.
Yeah, you know, yeah. So
Oh, when you look at that, sir can't spell.
I'm telling you, to identify variables and constants. All right. Let's look at another keyword that we're going to use in the interim. Now, depending on the school that you go to, they may use the word input or they may use the word read. They all mean the same thing. So this is to accept an input from the user. Okay. Now, next thing is you are either going to see an if. I'm just going to write if else for now. Now, this is used for or if then else, depending on the school of thought you go. If you go to maybe Knox, they might say that. If then else, this is used in decision making. Another keyword that you're going to see used is for. Now this one is used to repeat an instruction in a specific or repeat a set of to repeat an instruction or a set of instruction a specified number of times. And maybe while I'm doing end, I should put end for there, because in some school of thought, most school of thought, you want to end the for loop, which means the same thing I should do here. I should have an end if, right? Just keep there. Maybe I should highlight these, change the color of them so that people can keep tabs and keep track with me. Put that there. Make it clear. Now, it's very important that you pay attention to these housekeeping details that we're doing, because you will need these when you have to actually write your solution. Okay? There's also while loop, while, and we'll put end while. Yeah, and this is used to repeat an instruction until a condition is met. So if I'm writing a program that prints the number 5 until the user enters 0, then you'd use an while, n while in that particular case. All right. Yeah, depending on the school that you go to again, they might use a type of loop called repeat until. So I'm just gonna put this here because I know that you know, people go to different school and you have different teachers who uses different expression. Okay. Now this is another loop. that repeats a or an instruction, maybe an instruction, until the condition is met. I won't talk about do while in this case, because I don't know if anybody in Jamaica still do that. Unless you can tell me from your class, we'll do that. We'll mention that for now. Another keyword that is used in writing your pseudocode is going to be the word. So just as we have start, begin, there's also what is called stop or end, whichever variation your school utilizes. And basically, this is used to indicate the end of a pseudocode. So if I can recap, yeah, you can express your algorithm as a pseudocode. So in the exam, it could be that they want you to write or to complete something as a pseudocode. It is still an algorithm they're talking about. It's just that it's a specific way in which you have to write it. They could also ask you to write it as a flowchart, in which case it means that you're going to draw a diagram to show the logical steps to solving a problem. Again, it's still an algorithm, but a different way of expressing that algorithm. Next thing we're going to do is to look at flowchart. Now, a flowchart is a pictorial / diagrammatic representation of the steps or of the logical steps to solve a problem. Okay. Now, once you have written that, we're going to scroll down just to this activity down this side, because these are going to be the shapes, and so we're going to just define what the shapes are for the flowchart. These are the flowchart shapes that we have here. And I
remember this, sir. I remember this from my IT class last year. Some of them at least.
Nice. All right, so this one is called the terminator. That's the
yes,
name.
sir. It's used to start and end the algorithm.
Good. Used to start and end the flowchart. And I will bold this again. This one is called a process. And this is used to store or assign data to a variable. Usually, calculations is an indication that you are doing a process. So process is as simple as if it's showing how to do something. So for example, if I did to find the sum and I had sum equal num1 plus num2, this is going to go inside of a process, right? So example, because a process is basically showing how something is done. So we'll put that here. And we'll bold this so you can keep up with me. All right. How's everybody doing? Everybody with me? Is Deandra with me? Thanks, I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
check for you now. Good. Katrina, you with me?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So this one now is called a decision. All right. You guys call it a diamond. Decision. Now, this is used for condition branching or decision making. So if it is that I am going to be making a decision in a program, which usually if there's an if-else statement. So I'm just going to put an example here. So if-else statement. So if I'm at an if-else, I'm going to be using that. Or if I am at the condition of a while or for loop. Of while or for loop. Now onto the parallelogram. This one, we refer to it as the input slash output, or it's the parallelogram. And this is used to enter data or output data. All right. Next, this one is above your level at the moment, but I just put it as subroutine. So you don't have to use a subroutine on your GCSE, and this just basically is used to create a function or let's just say create a function or procedure. Function or procedure. Something we might look at as we are going through different weeks. Now on this side, we have our data flow. All right. And this is used to show the flow of data in a flow chart. All right. All of this is going to make sense in a few when we actually start to make our program. So make sure that you know what these things are and you're keeping tab of them. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go back up to my worksheet because what we're doing today is making sure that we take all of the important information so that, and in a proper, organized, and structured way, because we're going to be working on this quite a bit. All right. Now, I want to talk about a narrative. Now, if you're in the exam and they ask you to write an algorithm, you may write that as either a pseudocode, a flowchart, a narrative, or a program code. However, if they say write a pseudocode, you have to write a pseudocode. If they ask to draw a flowchart, you must write a flowchart. And if they ask you to write a program code, you must. I am told in recent years, they have watered down the CSEC examination. They won't be asking to write programs in the actual exam, just in your SBA. And that's because Jamaica cannot agree on a programming language that one should use. If you ask me, they are making the subject very boring, okay? And making it quite useless. I think for your own personal development, you should specialize in doing program. It is what will actually make you look smart than your peers. Okay, good. Now let's move on to narrative. Now, for narrative, this is a written explanation in plain English describing the steps to solve a problem. So that's me pulling up on Jade and say, Jade, how do you make lemonade? She doesn't have to list out using start, begin, declare, input, read. She can just explain to me, just like what we had here. So if you look up here, the first activity that we did with the curry chicken, that is what we call a narrative. We simply listed a bunch of steps and ingredients how to prepare chicken. All right, cool. So please do pay attention to that. All right, and I'm just going to point back an example is explaining how to prepare curry chicken. That's just the explanation as to how to do it. So in the exam, if they did not specify right in a pseudocode and you were to have logically explained how to solve the problem, they should give you the points. Right? Let's just assume that your examiners are smart. They should give you the points. Now, next thing we're going to move on to talking about is program code. We have kind of started doing some of that in last year, and I want to get back to that, but we have to build a proper bridge to get there. So what actually is a program code? This is the actual instructions written in a programming language that a computer can execute. Okay. For example, if I wrote in Python, and this is for example, in Python, and let's say I wrote print hi Katrina. The computer can understand this because this is done in Python. Computer should be able to interpret that we're trying to get this displayed on the screen. So specifically, this is a program code. So this will work in the computer. These won't work in the computer. We will use a trace table to test these. Maybe in my next class, we will move on to trace table. Right now, we're just building our way. All right, so let's now go down and talk about what are some characteristics of an algorithm. If you are giving someone instruction, tell me some characteristics that your answer should have. If you are given instruction, Daddy, tell me some characteristics of a good instruction. Good instruction. How do you know I've given you great instruction? Jade.
How may I help you, sir?
I would love for you to explain to me how do you know you have great instructions?
You know you have great instructions, sir. When you are given the method as well.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Oh. All right. What about you, Colton? I see a hand up. Like you want to tell me how to do it.
When the instructions is concise and accurate.
Definitely. All right. Me I go show you when somebody give algorithm. One Jamaican, cause Jamaican people skill, no man. They skill. Hold on there. And let's see if what I'm asking you make a whole lot more sense. All right.
Nashisha, where do you live?
I live like, my name Maggie.
Yes?
You go up that road, there's a level right there, you go like this and go there. And after, as you go there, you go up there again, go so, then you go over there, there's a house, and then after you pass the house, then you go like this, and go up, and then you turn around and stop corner there's another house, then you go over, then there's a red man tree, then you go around, there's a road, go around somebody's yard, then you go like this and go straight out, then you go up, there's another house, and then after you are finished, then you go over, then you go up, there's a mango tree, and go up little more and go on the flat. That's my house.
I understood everything, sir. I understood everything.
Every time I listen to that, I'm confused.
I understood that, sir.
Jamaicans are the best. All right. So, what can we learn from that? What are some things we can say about instructions? So, one of them is that the instruction must be what? Clear. So let's go for algorithm. The instruction must be clear and unambiguous. What I'm telling you, I still can't keep up with that girl. All right, that's one. Okay. Second, that we can come up with, the instruction must be precise. So when you write your algorithm, whether you're writing, drawing a flowchart, writing a program code, or you're doing a pseudocode or a narrative, you need to make sure that whatever you're doing is pretty clear. It is unambiguous. By unambiguous, we mean that whatever words you are using can only mean one thing. It should also be very, very precise, as I pointed out already. Anything else we can think about when it comes on to what makes good instruction? Any other ideas? Anything else? Nobody? It must be finite. You cannot have an algorithm that just have endless set of steps or endless set of instructions. It doesn't arrive at an end, right? So it must be finite, which means it must end after a limited number of steps. Very important that we know this, okay? Another thing that we need to point out is that it must be well ordered. It must be well ordered. Remember what I said? You cannot season the chicken before you wash the chicken. That does not make any sense, right? It must be well ordered, meaning that steps must follow a logical sequence, right? So whatever you're writing must make sense, all right, logically. So if I ask you to find the average, you cannot then divide before you add the numbers together, right? Doesn't make any sense. You're going to arrive at the incorrect answer. So that is what we mean. So these are your guiding points when you are thinking about writing your algorithm. Another thing we need to point out is that it must arrive at it must produce the correct answer. One thing I can give the young lady a blight for a while ago, whatever she said, the people them arrive at her house. It must produce the correct answer. So if you are doing an algorithm that does not arrive at the correct answer, your algorithm is having some form of problem that needs to be addressed. Another thing that we notice, remember when you're doing the curry chicken, you had to have some ingredients, not true? So what do we call those ingredients? We call them input. So it must take input, do something with the input, which means processes it. So it takes the input, it must process the input, and it must produce the curry chicken so my belly can smile. So it must produce output. So it processes it, and lastly, outputs it. If your algorithm does not do these things, then you're not successful. So the goal is not to write the algorithm in the same way that Colton or Jade actually write it. The goal is to make sure that my algorithm honors these characteristics, these principles. A smart examiner who is marking your work is not marking it to see if Colton and you have the same thing, or that you have answered it the same way I, the programmer, would have answered it. What I want to look at is if your thing is logical, is it clear, is it ambiguous, does it arrive at the correct answer? Yeah, process, yeah. Process it and output. Okay, cool. Full English language. Okay, anyways, let's now move on to my next activity. Is that activity 2 on yours? Yeah, cool. Yeah, man. Taking our time. So we're doing all the content part of it, and then we're going to go into some practice. So the next thing we want to do now, and this is also on your exam, everything that you see I've given you in the very exact order that this is meant to be a study material that you're going to use when you're preparing for your paper 2 examination. Okay, cool. And paper 1. So the next thing that we need to look at is what are the steps that are involved in problem solving or in developing an algorithm. Remember that algorithm is ultimately about solving a problem. So however they write the question, you just need to remember algorithms about solving problems. So the first thing that we must do when solving a problem is that we must define the problem. You have to know what you're trying to do. And that is what the problem statement does. That's why I started out the activity by saying, I want you to tell me how to produce curry chicken. If you do not make clear what the problem is or identify clearly what the problem is, you can't solve what you don't know. So you got to know that. The next step that you need to go through is to propose and evaluate solutions. What do we mean by that? So now you're defining, you know clear what your problem is, right? You then now begin to look at different ways how to solve the problem. Am I going to use a flowchart to solve this? Are they asking me to use pseudocode? Are they asking me to do a narrative? So I'm looking at all of the different opportunities, the different things I can go through to solve this problem. That's what I need to do. And then look at what we do next. We determine the most efficient solution. Yes? And always the most efficient solution is the one the examiner is asking you to do still. In the case of actual coding, let's say you are pursuing a career in coding, obviously it is what your customer needs. So that would be the most efficient solution. Once you have done that, this is where you're now going to finally develop your algorithm. And the last thing that you must do when an algorithm is to test and validate the solution. So if you produce an algorithm without testing, then there can be no proof that you have actually answered the problem. So test and validate the solution. Are there any questions so far? Any question? Any question? Any question? None?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
All right, fabulous. I want you now, based on what I have explained, what a problem is, I want to tell me what you think a problem statement would be. Bear in mind that I just said up here that the first thing you have to do is define the problem. So can you write your own definition for me of what a problem statement is? Of course, once you finish, you can either copy and paste or voice it for me. Let me know what you come up with. I'll let you know if I agree. La 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 la. Say, Ashani gone shop today. Or is she sleeping? Regine, welcome back. I'm seeing you for about 2,000 years. A problem
Yes, sir.
statement is a clearly defined issue that you're trying to solve. Yeah, maybe I just tweak a couple of words, but I love the fact that you're saying clearly. That's absolutely a good way of putting it. So I might just slightly change a bit, change a few words in what you've said, like that. That says a problem statement is a clear, I'm going to use description, yeah? Is a clear description of the problem to be solved, okay? It's the first thing you need to know. What am I asked to solve? No, the problem statement itself must include one, what needs to be solved, or what needs to be done actually. What needs to be done? So let's go back to my original question way up at top. What did we need to do here, Colton? What were we trying to do?
Repeat, sir.
So I said the problem statement must include what needs to be done. I'm asking you, based on the first question I gave you, what were we trying to prepare?
Curry chicken, sir.
Good. So that is a clear indication of what needed to be done. So that's what we mean by your problem statement must tell you exactly what needs to be done. So it's not only tell you the solution, but it tells you what you need to do. Here's something else that you need to know. It needs to also tell you what result is expected. And of course, the chicken need to be curried, all right? Expected. So maybe that's good. Right. Now, something else I want to point out again as I keep going. This is very important. Elements of a problem statement. I want to make that as a little subheading. Elements of a problem statement. Now, every problem statement must have these three things. Input. That's like the ingredients. Yeah. What will be entered? So we'll put that. What will be entered? Every problem statement needs to have that. Then processing. Okay. What should we do to the input to get the output? In our case, we needed to curry the chicken. Okay. And output, it needs to have output. And the output is basically the final outcome. All right. The final outcome. All right. Very important. Paying attention to that. Yeah, nice, Katrina. Nice, good. All right, cool. We're gonna go to talking about defining diagram. So in some of your classes, I don't know if what a teacher call it. They may call this an IPO chart. While I was in Jamaica, I called it an IPO chart because I wanted the students to quickly remember that we're talking about input, output, and processing. I'm going to put IPO chart there just in case, you know, anyone have used that words for you. So therefore, a defining diagram is a visual planning tool that shows the input, comma, output, and processes. Okay, cool. And as I said before, it's called an IPO chart or diagram, whatever. People use different, so I just put diagram there. Same thing. Okay, cool. Well, let's get into it now. So all of that theory, now we're going to go into this. So in this case, I have given you a problem statement. Remember, a problem statement needs to be clear. It needs to tell you what the input is, what you need to do to the input, and also what is the output. Okay, so we're going to now use our visual planning tool, which is this IPO chart that we have here, to solve this problem. So we're going to break it down. So write an algorithm that accepts two numbers. What's the input? What two things need to be entered? Two what? Two what? Nobody now respond to that. All right, cool. So we need to write an algorithm that accepts two numbers. In this case, when you see the keyword accept, all right, or enter, this is how you're going to know that you're being asked to input. All right, so these keywords, accept, maybe I'm going to write it here. Keywords like accept, enter, input, look for words like those. They usually precede the data to be inputted. Okay, so just want to put that as an extra information here, that when you have to write this, whether that's in an exam or in your SPA, that this is the keyword you're looking for. Once you see this word, it is showing you what will be your input. Now here they're saying we're going to enter two numbers. Now the normal thing that someone will be thinking, this is someone who's in a math class. Someone in a math class would start thinking about two numbers like that. But the problem with this is, if I decide to pick two numbers, it means that my program will only be able to calculate those two numbers. As a programmer, I want to write the program so that any two number that is entered will have the same effect. The numbers will be added. So we're not going to write the actual numbers, but we're going to create containers called variables to store those numbers. So I am going to name one of them num1, so I'm going to call it, and I'm going to call the other one num2. Now, these are just areas in memory that are going to store the number that is entered. As a problem solver, as a program developer, we don't care what the two actual numbers are. We don't care. That's why we focus on something called abstraction. We want to build something that regardless of the two numbers that is entered by the user, it will give the same effect. It will add them together. Okay, cool. The next thing that we need to look for is what is it that we need to do? I'm going to highlight that. We need to print the sum. Very important, I will say. So in my output column here, I am going to type sum. See, I'm planning out my program. Cool. I know we need to find the sum. Now I'm going to put right here as another keyword for you when you want to know output. So words like print output, result, they normally point to the output. So again, when I'm reading the problem statement, I need to look for those words to help me confirm what the output is. So if you look on here, I have here, you can look up here and see that the word that follow or point to what I'm going to do is print. Okay, Now, this is the part that we do. Remember that we said a problem is usually pointing out a goal. The goal is to find the sum, but the path to doing it is not pretty obvious. So this is where we come up with a recipe. This is where you come up with the steps that you would take to solve this problem. So this is how I would go about it, okay? The first thing I probably want to do in a pseudocode is to write the word print. Remember, how do I know this? Just go back to what I wrote about pseudocode, yeah? Oh no, I ain't even have the word print up here. We should add the word print. So print used to display and output. Okay, need that. So print. Okay. So let's get back down to here. So we're gonna use a keyword print. Now you might be asking, do I need to capitalize this? No, because it's not actually going to run in a program. It is just a plan. It is just a vision. But it is good that you do because it helps you to know what your specific keywords are. Okay. So here we would write print. Now, because this is going to be an instruction, we're going to tell the user, you have to tell the user what they need to do. All right. Because the user will not know what to do. So what I would do is to put a statement that says enter a number. Now, this is what would be shown on screen to the person who is going to be doing the program. Now, after the person enters the number, we need to store the number that they're actually entering. We need to read that from the keyboard. Because if you don't, the number is just going to disappear. It's not going to be stored anywhere. So we go back up to here, and this is it. We can use either of these keywords, input or read, see, to accept an input from the user. So after we give the instruction, the next thing to do is to accept. And the way to do that is we can use the word input or use read. I'm going to go with read for today, okay? And then whatever it is the person enter, we want it to be stored in this variable called num1. So we'll put read num1. Okay, so once again, this is a prompt statement that the user will see so that they will know what they're supposed to do. Then we are going to use the command read to take that value and then put it inside of this container called num1 that we created. Okay, we're going to repeat the same process because guess what? We are accepting two numbers. For the interest of time, I'm just going to copy this and to paste it on this side. We need to change the variable type this time to 2. And maybe here I will put another to make it clear that is another number that they are entering. Okay, good. Now, Colton, what else do I need to do now if I'm going to find the sum? I now have the two numbers. What should I do? How do I get the sum of two numbers?
Adding them, sir.
Right, so we add them together. So we need to create another variable called sum, because if you're going to print sum, you need another variable. Okay, so create another variable called sum, and we're going to add the numbers together. That's where we do num1 plus num2. Okay, what was the last thing they said we should do up here? Look up here. What should the last thing we do? We should do what?
Print the sum.
Good. So that means we need what keyword to print? What keyword?
I think Jade wants to answer, sir.
No, that's your question. Answer your question. Stop bothering me.
Store the waste no time. An half hour. We
Sir,
have
she's barely answered, sir, so I think it's her time now.
It's not my time. Leave me alone. Colton, leave me alone.
So we'll use the keyword print, and we could just add a little statement to kind of express what it is. So we'll say the sum is, we're going to go for, and we're going to print sum. Okay. Now, if you do this properly and logically like this, guess what? When you get to write in the pseudocode, look at this now, look how easy. This is already the pseudocode. Because the pseudocode is a logical set of steps that you must go through to solve the problem. So if you did a very good defining the problem, all you need to do now is go copy everything from inside of the process and put up at top the word start and put down at bottom the word stop. Okay? Are we good? Oh no.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's key. So if you have a good plan, it's like building a house now. If you draw a good plan, then the contractor can look at it and make a good house. If you don't, you are going to struggle. Okay. All right. I see a hand over here. All right. Cool. Adam is with me. I don't know if Katrina is still with me. I don't even know if Deandra is still here. No. Is Deandra still
Sir,
here?
I'm here.
Yes,
And
sir.
you're live and direct and everything good? Good. Now, there's something else I want to do on this, because there's probably one other thing that you would need to do, right? At the top of this, right? Some teachers prefer you to do this. We don't ever care where it's done, but based on your exam specification, they want you to declare the variables. You just need to write the word declare, and then you look back for your variables. So that would be sum, that would be num1, num2. Because they are all going to be numbers, you can declare them in the same line. So you can just do make sure you write them the same way like how you use them. Num1, num2, and then up at top, you can decide now, we have covered data type, but data type for numbers can either be real or they can be integer. Real is when we expect it to be decimal number. Remember in a Python, we would have said float, but float and real, same thing. In pseudocode, they'll say real, okay? In the same thing. And then integer is for whole numbers. In this case, I'm going to go with real, okay? And that would have been your first pseudocode, just like that. So if we can start out by first understand what the problem statement is, come up with a plan for it, we are already halfway through with our pseudocode. All right, which is what you should really be doing for your SBA, all right, in breaking things down. Now, we're going to then go from here and we're going to produce what is called a flow chart, all right? Remember the shapes that we're going to be using: oval, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use an online platform to do this, because I'm gonna like use one per box in a word. So I'm going to use an online platform for this. So in the, I'm going to type it in chat. All right. So you're going to search this up quickly, draw.io. I think they update it now to draw.net or something, but type in draw.io and just follow that link on the web. All right. And what we're going to do on there is we're going to learn to develop our first sensible flowchart. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to just work through the next activities them together. And we'll give some homework so you can show how brilliant you are. All right, cool. So draw.io. Right. So if your SBA required to draw a flowchart, you can use this website. All right, so I'm following up a technique. And all right, so this is what the website should look like. Mine is actually loading just now, taking its own time. So you realize the shapes are on this side, all right? So just maybe if you can flowchart to be specific so you can get flowchart shapes only. Hopefully we get that. All right, so again, for an activity like this, the first thing you would need to do is to start with your word start. And we use a oval for that, or what we call a terminator. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do, you don't have to worry about. So here you see what we're doing here, let me pull up back my activity. No, don't cancel. Know that. Let me just pull up back my activity to point out here so that, because I normally do this so that people can flow. All right, you see when you're looking back at this now, you want to create the flow chart for this. I'm going to highlight the things that are important for your flow chart. You don't need to do the others, okay? So you can ignore declaration because you don't declare in flow chart. Just gonna highlight this. So the start is important. This problem statement here is not necessary. You just need to go straight to the read statement. These are the parts that are important. Read. So your start, your read or input statements, your process is important, and your output statement is important along with the stop. These are the part. So any extra instruction you give to the computer, like tell people what they need to enter, you don't need to put that in your pseudocode. Also, the declaring is not necessary. You don't need that. So these are the bits that you will need to represent in your flowchart. Now, back to my flowchart. So on here, now we have our start. So the next thing we need to do is to read our number, okay? For that, we will need a parallelogram. Where is the parallelogram? Is there anybody that is working faster than me? Oh, see it here? So this is our parallelogram. And then in here, all we'll need to do is to do read num1. Okay? From here, we need to make sure our arrows are connecting. So if you hold on this a bit and drag it down, it will connect. That's your read statement. So you start score 2 points in the exam. The next thing you're going to do is to what? Read num2. So again, you get your parallelogram. Okay. And you're going to do read num2. Okay. We'll do the same thing again. Go right here. So, and draw down your arrow. And we can never draw them arrow straight. This is Jadi Akasis, you know.
Yes, sir.
I
I
haven't
agree.
said
I
anything.
agree with that statement. That's the point. It's your presence.
Leave Jadi alone. Here. Jadi want to end the Saturday still a good Christian girl. Leave her alone.
Exactly.
Don't provoke her to wrath. Right? Cool. All right, so from our shapes, guys, which shape do we need now for the calculation? Based on what we do, which shape do we need? Guys, look back at the notes you should have been writing.
Sir, I've been taking screenshots.
Yeah, that's it. My students want me to work harder than them. Can you imagine?
It's called working smarter and not harder, sir.
Now I do that too. Just I gotta do one PowerPoint and send it. Guys, I'm waiting on you. Which shape do we need for showing the calculation? Look back at what I gave you as the explanation for the shapes. So none of that 6 student now go answer me. Serious? Okay. All right. We'll be using the rectangle. From here, we will need to connect different shapes intact. So, want to get the gist. Line need for straight. right? From here, because this one is a calculation, so we are doing sum equal num1 plus num2. We go ahead and do just that. The last thing we're going to do is to do our output, which again is still a parallelogram. From here, make a line. And then we are going to print sum. Again, you don't have to put the whole explanation like what you're doing in a pseudocode. You can just put print sum, and that would be good. And then from here, we just do our oval, which should bring this to an end. And in here, we will put stop. Now you should do this and put in a space that asks you for a flow chart. Yeah. And that would conclude your example of how to write a proper flow chart. And so in this space, we would paste our flow chart. That is your flow chart. Okay, so these are the basics that now need to be reinforced for better learning. So let's go on down to activity 4 here. And I want you to write some statements here and explain what you think this flow chart is going to do. Guys, remember we only have 19 minutes, you know. 2 things we plan for today, you know. And we're not even done one. So we need to put a little bit more pep in our steps. May is just around the corner. Write down some thoughts explaining what this is gonna do. All right, Adam, take care. Are we there? All right, can someone go ahead now and kind of explain to us what that is doing, please? Thank you. All
Sir, could you repeat?
Okay, so the instruction was for you to explain the program, the flow chart that's here. What is the flow chart doing? Nobody's going to try. All right, I'm going to stop here because I've been here. I've been fighting with this class for all evening. People aren't even trying. Guys, listen. If I make effort to be here on a Saturday, I'm here to actually help you. You know, man. That's my number one thing. I cannot have students who are not even trying. I can't force the water uphill. If you're not going to participate, I'm not seeing people on screen. I don't even know if you guys are here. So when I end the class here, and when you guys are serious, you guys can let me know. I'll be back here on Thursday. We need to either be here for class or not for class. I'm tired of trying to force you to respond. If you don't know, you just don't know. You can't just sit there and nobody said anything. I can't respond to that. I can't see you. I can't supervise it. Can't supervise students not being engaged or involved. You have to know if you need me to help you. And the only way I can respond to helping persons is when people are engaged and participating. I don't know what's going on this Saturday. So I'm going to share with Miss Millen that I don't know what is going on. The class is not as engaging and participating as you guys should. I cannot force you to support. I want to help you. I'm breaking this down to make sure I can explain and help you. I'm just not getting any response. Person just sitting there and not responding. So I'm gonna end the class here today. All right, so you guys
Excuse me,
can.
sir. I have the answer, but I was just giving somebody else a try.
Yeah, but for me, it's for me. I am watching the time because I know May is just around the corner. When is your exam? I've prepared to teach you enough, but I also don't want to go very fast. So if persons are not willing to participate, well, you participate, or else I'm just going to end the class each time and go, because I'm actually here to support persons. I want to hear the misconception. I want to clear up the misconception. But if persons are just going to sit there, just no say anything, I'm just going to end the class and go. Because I do have other things I want to get done today. But I'm here because I want to make sure I prioritize helping you to learn. So, what's it going to be? Could you share your answer for me, please? Or we just end the class
Okay,
today?
sir. So this flow chart basically describes the basic computer programming logic, right, sir? So the oval represents the beginning of the process.
Mhm.
Okay, the parallelogram, which is read A, that is the input step where the process would ask to receive the first value, basically. And then
Mhm.
parallelogram B, that is the second input step where it receives the second value. Then the rectangle would be the rectangle being calculate sum as A plus B. That's a process step. The computer performs the um, mathematical addition of the two values provided. And that's, would you also say that that is using the ALU process, the arithmetic logic unit processor?
Yeah.
Okay. And then print sum, which is the rectangle, the other rectangle, that's the output step where the results of the calculations are displayed,
Mhm.
where there is, displayed are sent to the printer screen. And then the end in the oval, that signifies the completion of the program. So basically, the flow charts represents the logic of simple calculation.
Okay. Cool. All right. Nice. There is an error in the program in the flow chart. Can anybody spot what the error is? Look back at the shapes that you were given and the meaning and purpose that they were for. and tell me where the error is and what should be the correct shape. Anybody? Do we see the error in the pseudocode? Look back at the shapes. If you are taking notes along with me, so I think, I don't know if persons are taking notes. Guys, what we doing? I sat here and I made certain I typed the notes while I'm speaking with you. And we can't respond. Go back to where we had written what each of those shapes are used for. And can you tell me where is the error in the flow chart?
Excuse me, sir.
Mm-hmm.
The print sum is
Yeah.
a rectangle. Is it supposed to be a parallelogram?
That is it. Yeah, that should be a parallelogram. Cool, great. All right, nice. So what we're going to do, so to tie in everything, so what we notice that we have used the same problem. We have done the defining diagram, then we have done the pseudocode, then we've done the flow chart for it. Now we want to actually write the Python code for it. The whole point of this is to show us that these are not necessarily learning 4 different things. They're just simple 4 different ways of expressing the same algorithm. The algorithm is all about coming up with a solution for a problem, but you could be asked to express the solution in any of these formats, and that's what you will need to master master this, of course, through practice. All right, so we're going to go to Trinket. So if you search up Trinket, where we and sign into your account. Should have an account from the last time when we were writing programs. Yeah. And what we want to do is to have a go at quickly typing this as a Python code. So as we said, with a Python code, you have to follow the actual rule of the programming language, because this is what the computer is actually going to understand. All right. You can get away with not writing the specific word in pseudocode and narrative and flowchart, where you'll not get away with that when it comes on to this. All right, cool.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, is it Trinket.io?
yeah, it is that. Yep, should look like this. So once you get in on your sign in, if you click on home, and then you should see new Trinket and then select Python. All right. So the good thing about Python is we don't have to declare variables. So we'll go ahead and do it the same way. Now, I'm going to do it to reflect how we did it in the pseudocode, all right? Which just shows you that there's another way how you can write your code. You guys are probably used to just starting with num1. So we're going to do it like how we did in the pseudocode itself. So here we go, print enter a number. And once we click run over here, if you notice that it does give us, it does print out the instruction as just a prompt statement. So this print is only printing now, but it does not allow you to type anything on there, okay? So this is why we need our read statement. But in Python, Python does not use the word read, it uses the word input. So remember that when I showed you in the pseudocode, I said you could use either input or read. That's for pseudocode. When it comes to Python, it is specific. You have to use input. So what we'll do here, we'll just do input and we'll do num1. Okay. Notice what happens this time if we run the program. Yeah, we need to put this in bracket. Oh no. Other way around. Num1 equal input. Now, notice this time when we run the program, it allows us now to enter a value, and you can press enter on the value. All right, can do that. Now we'll repeat the same process for num2. This time we need to change it from num1, we need to make it num2, and here we'll just say another number. Again, if we run this program, once you get here, you enter a number, press enter. You will see that the program moves to the next line and is asking for another number to be pressed, and press enter. Nothing else is happening because we have not given instruction for it to find the sum yet. The computer will only do what you ask it to do. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do sum. Problem here though is we're not going to use the keyword sum, we're going to use total instead. Or we could use sum. The reason why you can't use a lowercase sum is if you look at that, lowercase sum turns purple because that's a keyword. So we have to uppercase the SUM there so that it remains as a variable. Okay. And then from here, we're going to do num1 and we're going to do num2. Next thing that we're going to do from here is to print out the sum as we started. So we'll do print, and then we'll do the sum is with comma, and we will put capital SUM, which is sum. From here, we're going to go with 2, we're going to go with 4, and press 2 to the 4. But there's a problem. Notice what it did. It joined 4 to 22 to give you 2 to 4. Is that the answer that we should get?
No, sir.
Right. Anybody know why we're having that as an error? So remember that when a value is entered into the computer.
Oh, because they need to be they're integers, sir.
Right. So when a number is entered into the computer, by default, it reads as a string. So when you join two strings together, it just joins the two values together, as you see there. But if you want it for computational purposes, you will have to change this to an integer. The way to do that is to just put int here. So we call this process casting, which is just simple to convert it from one data type to another. So we're converting from string to an integer. We'll need to do the same thing here, which is int. Open that, and then we will go for this. And from here, we'll click run. If we do the same thing, 2, and put back 4, this time you'll get 26.
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So what we need to be doing is to be building on this. I would have said move on to the other activities on the page. Technically, I did a little bit of if else. So yeah, I'll say to you, have a go at trying them. We didn't do as much if else to concretize the knowledge. Because I think, was it only 2 of us who were in class? Was it just Jade and Colton? Or we did if else? Yeah. Right. I don't think you will have all the requisite knowledge to do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in the classroom an activity with similar activities that I will want you to do the defining diagram, just like what we did in class. So you'll do the defining diagram, you will do the pseudo code, the flow chart, and the Python code, all 4, just like what we did here. And all that is going to do is to build your ability to do the very basics, so that when we get to move to the next level of this, we can move on. All right, cool. Yeah, Deandra.
Sir, when I'm trying to do the code, it keeps on kicking me off the app. I'm not sure what is happening.
Are you using a computer or a phone?
A computer, sir.
Hmm. Does it allow you to see the screen that is being displayed on here?
Yes, sir.
Sounds a bit strange. Well, just refresh and try again.
Okay, sir.
Yep. Right, there you go. All right, so I think we're on the brink of time, but before we go, I actually want us to do a quick block it to recap our understanding of flowchart symbols. All right, so search up block it for me. Block it, just open a new tab and
Search
just
up
type
what, sir?
play block it. It's in the chat here. And then when you get there, just click on the join. You'll require to have a code.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right. So, can I ask first to go ahead and join, please? On screen 405 5671. Jetty there. Right. Here we go. Baba Chicken in the front. All right, thank you. All right, so we come to
One
the
bag of
end of this
tea.
evening. Baba Chicken has won. All right, cool. As I said, just double check how this looks.
So there are a lot of
Circle.
thieves. There are a lot of
Sir,
thieves.
Colton thief many times, sir. In
Colton, you
There are a
need
lot
to
of
stop
Canada.
it.
thieves.
I won't
I
say
was at
I took a thief
96,000
back from
and
him, and that's how
Colton is
I
at the
win,
top.
sir.
I nearly reached 100,000 and then just
I'm not good to me thief from you because you thief from me.
True. True.
Oh
thief
my
for
God.
thief,
True.
tit for tat, as my grandmother would say.
Sir, I won't say anything, because as soon as Colton reach first place, me I take from him. That's for something. Colton cannot get first place.
Right.
Nice. All right.
I was just
So
hoping for a swap in one of the chests so I could take back my first place, but it's okay. I take it as a win because I won. I won. I'll take it as a win. I don't care
You
what you guys
win.
have to
You
say.
came in fourth. You came in dead
No,
last.
no, no, no. If it wasn't for your thieving attitude, thieving ways, I won. I win.
What thief in ways? Colton, you lost fair
That's
and
the
square.
only
No,
way you guys
Colton,
could. That's
You lost
the
fair and
only
square.
you
way you guys
stole,
could win.
you
That's the
stole
only
many
way you
times,
guys could
Colton.
win. That's because y'all took my money first.
Colton, you've been taken from the first part of the game.
No,
Exactly. You thief from the
no.
first part of the game.
Exactly.
That's
Admit.
when money was low. That's when money was low. So it
Sure.
didn't
That
matter.
does not
Sure.
matter. That does
Exactly.
not
You
matter.
admit
What?
that you
That does
thief.
not matter.
Wait. So what am I supposed to do? The game gives me 3 options and not an option not to thief. They don't give me an option not to
Stop
thief.
playing the game.
I
Come off of
choose
the
a
game.
Yes, there
random
is an
person.
option
I
that says
choose a random
nothing.
person.
There is an option
What?
that says nothing.
No, not for me. Not for me. Not for me. Not on my
Because you
laptop. No, sir.
nasty, right?
Ma'am.
You nasty.
No, ma'am.
mm,
I'm seeing perfectly.
Anyway, sir, I do not like this game.
you do
Also,
not
I do
like the
not like the
game.
game.
Why you don't like the game?
Sir, it brings out the worst in us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good.
no, it brings out the competitive side of us.
You guys should beat Colton. You guys have been playing this from Thursday. Yeah, you should master it by now. All right. So, complete the defining diagram for the
And I'd like
follow.
to note that there were a lot of misclicks. There are a lot of misclicks, sir.
What misclick? What that means?
Clicked something on accident that I wasn't supposed to.
Oh, so it's not your fault.
No, sir, I wouldn't say it was my fault.
Mm.
It's
Whose fault was
Jade's fault, sir.
Everything is Jade's fault when Jade has done nothing. Jade wasn't even listening to your conversation. How?
It's your presence.
Colton, please. Colton, please. If you don't stop bothering me. Stop. Sure. Continue with your lesson, sir. Because Colton is going to make everybody attack you. Continue with your lesson, please. And
Yes,
thank
sir.
Oh, I'm just putting together the work that you are going to be doing on your own and listening to you guys argue.
Oh,
Sir, so life go.
Yeah, that is it. I am only over here doing one lesson, one activity that I think, because I don't want to give you the one that's there because I haven't reinforced the if else statement and I want perfection for my work. So I'm gonna give you something that should challenge your reasoning and apply yourself. Right, the pseudocode. Pseudocode for above. Hidden. And then lastly, create the flow chart. To do this, follow the link or search up draw.io. And lastly, using Trinket, right? The Python code. All right, nice. This is homework. Guys, I need my homework to be finished for Thursday.
Yes, sir. I will be at that class, sir. Most definitely.
Whether or not you're at my class, I need my homework.
That's what you said the last time.
No,
We know we
me.
can't trust.
Me.
Yes, you.
Oh, me. When?
Last class, last Saturday class, you
I have no.
said, Sarah,
I have.
be there.
Yeah, it was even his
I
idea.
have
Exactly.
no
I think it
recollection
was.
of that.
I think it was. It was his idea.
His idea. Because
I have no
and they didn't
recollection
even
of it.
show up.
I
Talk
had
about
an
the
exam to
physics
study
test.
for.
Yeah, we all have things to do. You're behaving like life
Yes.
stops for us.
No, but I prioritize, sir. It's prioritization.
Prioritize. No, that's indiscipline.
What?
Indiscipline.
How is
You should learn.
prioritization indiscipline, sir?
A good human being should be able to balance multiple things all at once. Life doesn't stop just because you have one thing to do. What are you talking about? I got exams. You
Sir, sir,
I could
if I
say I
had
got
come
my
to class, I would
university
not have had
students.
time to study.
I could say I got my university students, plus I got my high school students, plus I got
No,
the department I am supposed to lead, plus everybody in my department relies on me
but
as
sir, if I had
prepare
come
and
to
to
class, I
lead.
would not have had time to study.
If I okay, so if I don't come tomorrow, I got church all the way in London, 4 hours away. Remember, and I'm in class. Am I going to say, Lord, I'm not prepared because I had to be in class? You need to, you need to get your house in order, man. You need to get your house in order. So yeah, that's what you do. Oh no, where's it? Web page. Click address, click yes. Cool. Nice. Homework is done. Should I send it here in the chat?
Sir, classroom, sir.
Classroom, sir, or send it in the WhatsApp chat. Whichever one.
Oh, hold on. Let's go up here. Go in the classroom and put it up there because the line is to do to reinforce all the learning that we have done today. So that next week when we meet, we're doing if-else statement, for loop, while loop on there. Trust me, this is going to take a while to get embedded in all of your brains, Plus, we have other parts of the curriculum to do. So when I come to class, nobody make me have to cuss and get on bad. When I have to be on it with me, be on it with me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't like when people don't get straight to a profile. It stresses me out. Please don't play. Guys need to be on the ball. Come next week ready to be on the ball. Yeah. So make sure we do what we are supposed to do. Right, Deandra?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that's silent business. And we just want to get into it. Anybody else don't want to answer? So be it.
Sir, we want to answer you.
Yeah. I don't know what answer. And just like me when up here I stress out myself and I go on. I mean, like,
Sir,
why is
I like
nobody
that, sir.
responding? It is true. Now over here I wonder what is going on. Nobody is responding.
Sir, Coton and Jade don't want to open their mic, sir.
So it's us
tired of
alone in the
talking.
class.
I'm
So
tired of
it's us
talking.
alone in the
Yeah.
class.
Plus next
So
week,
it's us alone
Deandra,
in the class,
make
Deandra.
sure you come with your camera turned on unless it broke.
Sir, I can turn on my camera now, sir.
One to your camera. Why all of we can turn on our camera but you can't turn?
Sir, it's because of the device I'm using, sir.
Oh. I thought you said you were using a laptop.
Sir, I use a laptop when I'm doing the work, sir, but when I'm on the class, I use my phone.
Why you can't join pan the laptop and use both?
Because, sir, I haven't cleaned my laptop storage as yet, and I'm afraid that something will happen.
Okay, I see. Better make sure put due date on this. They all tripping. We're going to do a test soon. It's time to start preparing for a test. We haven't done no test for a month. You all are tripping. Absolutely tripping. Can't believe it. It's tripping. 20.
Oh, sir, what do you think of Florian Wirtz now, sir?
Still not great for his number, for his money. It's not his fault. We're not going to blame him necessarily, but because I mean him can't decide how much a club is willing to pay to get him. But at the end of the day, when you're that amount of money, they're just going to be scrutinized and just everything about it is going to be watched. It's just like Jack Grealish when we bought him for 100 million and he has not lived up to it. Can you all check to see if it's in the classroom? Check if you can see that homework. Yeah, you guys need to do check the classroom to see if you see the algorithm homework. It's one question to do 4 tasks.
Yes, sir, it's there.
Good. All right, so that needs to be completed for me. So and returned so we can see what you have grasped. We'll be moving on next week to if else statement, following week to for, and then a while. So please come ready to participate. Keep my energy up. Y'all let me have to drink coffee because y'all over there just killing my vibes. Killing my vibes. I don't want to have to take coffee for it. Please, coffee is not healthy for me.
Sir, you take coffee for energy. I believe that you want the energy, sir. I don't really think it's us.
No, it's no. Miss Anna just kill me vibes. Not even the coffee not even that works until me have to start quarrel.
So sometimes they have to create their own vibe, sir.
Me try.
Yes, sir. Sing.
Me try till me have to start quarrel. You know what I say? Me did just go sign off and got me bed. Come here like, no, me can't do, man. Straight on my bed, me like go. Trust me. I was about to give up. hard. You me? Nobody no answer.
Thank God for
No,
today.
no, to all and only no say nothing. Nobody no say nothing.
But no, but
Katrina
look,
with
sir,
your
they're just
silent
acting
mouth.
like it's only Jade and I that's in the class. So like,
Yeah, well, it might look like that. I mean, Katrina answer sometimes. She type it like that. The Anja one did go on with that fear thing. Say nothing, not type nothing. We don't know if she over there understand or she over there struggle. We don't even know if she
Sir,
got
I
work.
am
yes, sir.
understanding.
So
Sir,
how me I
I
gonna
am
know?
But
If
he
she
understanding,
can't
doesn't
sir.
know. But he
Sir,
doesn't
I
know.
did answer you, sir. Quote and big